So I do this to clear my mind and my energy body for anything that might be in need of releasing before filming. And yeah, okay, that's a better hairdo, I think. So, hello and welcome back to Koala's Krypin. I am Koala, and yes, that is now my legal name, or one of them. Since a couple of months back. So, hmm, today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I don't normally talk on purpose. I don't talk that much about trans related topics on my channel because I don't see myself as like a trans activist or something like that, but if something happens in my life or if there is something that comes up that is related to shamanism and the things that I do share on this channel, I I feel the need and I want to share it. So here we go. So today I want to talk a little bit about transphobia in the spiritual community. And what I mean is that it's supposed to be all love and light and accepting and so forth. There's a lot of people that is drawn to the spiritual community, and shamanism in the modern day is a part of the spiritual community. It's under the spiritual umbrella, so to speak. So there's a lot of people that is drawn to the spiritual community to maybe find the like-minded and find acceptance and to find that love, that unconditional divine love that they might be missing in their everyday life. They might also be drawn to the spiritual community because they need to heal and want to heal from the inside out. Um, one of the reasons I dove into shamanism more, like a decade and a half ago, or something like that, is because I had things I needed to heal, and I couldn't do it in the regular, conventional, or whatever you want to call medicine. Um, so that's how I found my way into it. And but a lot of people need to heal. I needed to heal my physical body when I went into it, and a lot of people need to heal their minds and their souls. So there's a lot of um, spirituality is a lot of soul work, and there's a big chunk of it of the people in the spiritual community that are all about love and light and blessings all the way around. And I for a long time I felt like the spiritual community was very accepting and it was a safe space for many people. And then it started uh, when I started to notice that it wasn't as accepting was when I went more into well, I always felt I've talked about this before because I've talked about the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine within shamanism, and that's kind of where I started to feel something was a little bit off. So I'm not putting down shamanism or spirituality or the spiritual community. I'm just saying that it's not perfect. Okay, so that's where I want to go today. That just because someone is spiritual doesn't mean that it's all accepting, and and I talked about this on my Instagram the other day, that don't be seduced by pretty words. Don't be seduced by someone using fancy words or loving words or something like that and feel like, oh, they, and be like, oh, they they truly love me, they truly understand me, they truly share nothing but love and light. uh, but be aware of the words they're using and how they're using them, because there are a lot of manipulating people, manipulative people in the spiritual community. There are a lot of what do you say in English? Self-acclaimed, maybe, gurus and that sort of thing. A lot of there are like groupings in the spiritual community all over the world. So it's not, I'm not speaking from like a Swedish Nordic perspective now. I'm speaking from like in the whole, because when you enter the spiritual community online, you enter the spiritual community globally. It's not just one country. You're connected to all of it, especially if you speak English. So, and it's from the English speaking spiritual community where that I have met most of the transphobia. So if I just go back to where I started, but that so when I first entered the spiritual community and when I got deeper into shamanism, and especially when I started to uh, join other people's ceremonies and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of good things about it. There's a lot of like women's circles, and there's a lot of that sort of thing. Like especially women can find safe spaces to sit in circles with other women and share experiences and share healing and heal together, both in ceremony and just by talking, a lot of like talking and sharing space together and being in a safe space. However, however, uh, there are not, from my perspective, there's, if you want to find a safe space for the masculine community, you have to really dig. You have to really dig, and you have to, and there are some, definitely there are some safe spaces, but it's also quite divided and very the duality, like the poles, the opposite poles are very distinct within this. And this is where I kind of found that something felt off the first time. It was when I was a part of, back then, I was a part of women's circles, and I had a lot of ceremonies with women, and it was kind of hard to, because I've always been inclusive even before my egg cracked, you know. So I've always tried to be so as inclusive as possible, and I felt like a resistance towards that. There was like, no, women's circles are for women's. Well, okay, sure, yeah, but I want to have circles for everyone. But why can't I have circles for everyone? And one thing I found is that the women's spaces are very womb centered. So it's like a woman has a womb, and that is what we are working with, and that is what we are healing, and it's the yoni, and all that stuff, and that's fine. We can have women's circles that are womb centered and heal, help each other heal from that. But that means that they are a lot of these women's circles are excluding trans women because they were not born with a womb. Okay. So yeah, they're excluding trans women. And I think that's so just innately wrong, because e because to me gender is like my soul is um I can feel my gender in my soul, and I know that I carry with me like patterns and things that need to heal, not only from my maternal side, because of my A gap, my assigned gender at birth. But I also carry things with me that I need to heal from my paternal side, more so than maybe my sister, because of my gender identity as a trans man. So and I really feel like my soul and my spiritual body, my energy body is the body of a man. And so for me, trans women have the energy body of a woman, which means that they have a spiritual womb. So they also need this healing. They also have the capacity to heal their womb and to be a part of these. If we want to have womb centered circles, then include trans women, because they need it too. Just because their womb isn't physical doesn't mean that they don't need the healing. And it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. And it goes the other way around as well, that um I felt a bit uncomfortable in women's circles for a long time. I found a way to, I created my own circles. That's kind of maybe a part of why I became a practitioner and do what I do today, because I felt a need to start my own circles. And there are mostly women, or like cis women, that is drawn to these circles. But I also think that that's because it doesn't feel inclusive for men or non-binary people or uh trans women. It doesn't feel like it's something that we or they can be a part of, so it's something that has been created by women for women, and it's been very, very not inclusive. Um, but I hope that will change, and I want that to change in the future all over the spiritual community. And I also, so the first thing I want is for women's circles to include trans women. And because, okay, so I felt a bit out of place in women's circles for a long time, and I didn't really understand why, but I do now. And the first thing I did, well, first of all, I created my own circles. So I've tried that, to have my own circles where I'm a part of, like an equal part of it. And today I mostly host circles where I am kind of the leader of the group, and I run the circle, and I invite people like to courses and other, but it's very circular, you know, the form is very circular. And that is because I felt so uncomfortable, I think, in women's circles. And because even though I was born with a womb, I identify as a man, and I just felt that they were so. I don't mind women talking about their lives, and therefore maybe talk about the duality they feel with their partners, and so on. But it was there was a lot of moments where there was like, oh, but not you, not you, like not all men, not you, we don't mean you, and I was like, well, what do you mean then, they weren't trying to be offensive towards me. They weren't even trying to be offensive towards men. It was just a place where that kind of thing, you know, is the seeds are sown, and they are being nourished and that sort of thing. And it felt kind of toxic, to be honest. That wasn't even what I was going to talk about today. But yeah, I think this would be part one, all right? So I think, yeah, I want circles within the spiritual community to be more inclusive, mainly towards trans women, because I can, I'm fine with there being such a thing as women's circles, because women need safe spaces. They need spaces without men. They need spaces without where they can just be the wild woman that they are, and be in a safe space together with other women, and just wow, that's such a good thing. That's one of the best things that I experienced within these circles, just the ability to just be and be raw. So I really love that aspect of the whole women's circles thing. But I do want it to include trans women in all stages of transition, because it's just weird that it doesn't. There are circles that include trans women, I'm sure. I haven't really dug into it all the way because I'm not a trans woman, but I do know trans women that haven't felt welcome, because they've always been seen as something that they're not. you know like, transphobes usually see trans women as men, and there's some kind of hurdle that they can't really get over until they see nothing but a woman in front of them, everything that they expect from a woman. uh, and even so, I think there's an innate belief that a woman need a womb to be a woman, and that's just so wrong, because there are cis women without a womb that are there are so many different people. There is as many ways to be a person as there are people on the earth. There's as many ways to be a woman as there are women on this earth, and there's just as many ways to be a man as there are men on this earth. So there is nothing. The only thing we can do is to say that everyone that identifies as a woman and needs a safe space to be a woman, raw, just raw, and just be in this safe space and just work on shit together with other women, should be able to do that for the love of the universe. Just you know. So yeah, if you are watching this and you know of some inclusive women's circles that maybe host online, so that people from all over the world can join, um, or if you know some locally to where you live, and etc., please put it in the comment below my video, and I will save it for like a project later on, and just and I can put it on my website as well, my English website, Dreamers One, and my Swedish one, but mainly the English one, dreamersone.wordpress.com. So just do that, and I will see you shortly. Or like for you, it will be next week for the next part. For me, it will be in a moment. So, walking beauty, and as I always end my videos, Tjingeling!